What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Trail Theory Podcast. I'm Brian.
I'm Alex.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Pfeiffer.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Trail Theory Podcast, and we have another edition
From the trail.
from the trail, baby.
Yes.
We're out here. Where are we at, guys?
Cuyahoga Valley National Park. No, I made the joke the last time. Didn't hit either.
Wow. All right. So yeah,
I'm glad that you enjoyed it so much yourself that you did it twice.
Yeah. Well, whatever. No.
we are near Mount Rogers.
Yes.
We've
Sure
actually crossed through like 3 different wilderness.
Yes,
which
we
is
have.
the Grayson Highlands.
Yep.
We've gone through the Jefferson
National
I think
Forest.
Jefferson
Forest.
National Forest is the main area where we
Yeah,
are, and then we
gotcha.
hit like Little Fork, and then there's one other one that we went into.
Lewis Fork.
Lewis something.
Fork,
Yeah,
yes.
Lewis Wilderness.
which is
which was the first
parts
day.
of the Appalachian Trail, and
Yeah.
then obviously, or maybe not so obviously, Grayson Highlands.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we spent a lot of time on this trail, on the Appalachian Trail, which
Yep.
has been fantastic.
It was great.
Yes.
There's a certain feeling that you get and a certain like magic right when you get on it.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's different.
I agree, and it's one of those things I feel like I always have the mindset of once you kind of step onto it, thinking about all the people that like did the whole trail,
Right.
and then the things that they solved and the things and the challenges that they went through, and just being, yeah, you're right. It's a feeling.
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling.
There's also a physical, like you can tell the trail is like more maintained.
Yeah,
like
well
it's
used.
It's well used.
Well
Thank you.
used is a
Very,
good
very
point.
Well used.
Well, it's funny because so last night we'll get into it a little bit, I'm sure, but there was a downpour, like crazy thunderstorms.
Oh my God.
And we woke up and it was dry, or at least it wasn't raining anymore, and we were like, we're gonna have a sloppy mess of a trail.
Yeah.
But while we were walking, we were like, man, the AT is so like packed down and
Yeah.
dense. The dirt
Yeah.
doesn't really like
The
get
water
soupy.
just rolls
It
right
rolls
over.
right off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like that was like kind of cool.
Well, let's start from the beginning, right?
beginning, yeah.
For these From the Trail episodes, we kind of do a recap of the trip. This is our last night. We've got a great spot that we can kind of see right over through the trees
Yeah,
here. But
it is an incredible spot.
We drove down on Thursday morning. What did we leave at like 5:30 or something?
Yeah,
like
pretty
that,
early.
around there.
Well,
It's
real,
about-
real early.
Yeah, it's about like what
I think it was
5
about
and a half,
6
6 hour
hours.
drive.
Yeah,
Ended
all,
up
all
about
in
6
probably
hours.
about
Yep.
6.
Yeah,
from
which wasn't
Ohio.
bad. We got to the trailhead around 12:30, and where we were going to park was completely packed.
Well, not only was it, the parking lot was full. There was
Yeah.
also a couple trail angels.
Yeah, that was nice
helping
to
out
see.
cool
that.
to see.
Yeah,
some
very
through
cool
hikers.
to see.
There was a guy that had a puffy ankle,
Ooh,
a through hiker
yeah.
that had like a pretty jacked up ankle, and he was looking for
Yeah.
a ride down. And fortunately, he got one because we were considering giving him a ride down to
Yeah.
another portion.
One
but
of the trail angels
we're
gonna
give him
hook
a trail.
up.
But yeah, so that parking lot was no good.
full up.
But there was one not far away that
Yeah,
we were able to
it was
get
like
to.
maybe another half mile down the road that we were able to
and
grab.
we were able to
and-
just snag our trail from a little bit of a different angle to
slightly
start.
change our
yeah,
plans.
which wasn't too bad. The trail going down was nice. I mean, there wasn't a lot of views or anything like that going to
Right.
our first camp spot.
That
We-
open meadow right out of the gate was kind of
that
cool
was
to
cool.
see.
Yeah.
Just like at the start, and then that neat bridge over the water.
That's right.
That was cool.
Yeah, we completely bypassed where we were going to camp for that first night.
Did we really?
Well, 100% blew right through it. None of us ever saw it. We never checked on the map. And then when we got to Scales,
Yes.
Scales was the spot where we thought we were going to camp, but we were like, well, there's like this road that you can drive up. We didn't want to be around a bunch of cars and stuff. We weren't sure how busy it was going to be.
We weren't sure if it was like kind of like lightweight car camping area.
Right.
And we just don't, when you're out here, you want to be not like totally isolated from people, but
Right.
Isolated from like, any kind of comforts. But
It turned
we
out to
ended
be
up-
sweet.
So Scales is interesting because it's a big fenced-in area.
Yeah.
And
It's like
that's
a
when we
corral.
had our first
encounter.
encounter with horses.
Yeah.
Which I guess they're ponies, but they're much bigger than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I
not.
thought they were little.
They're not mini horses. They're ponies.
They're
ponies.
pretty
Yeah,
they're
they're
not
size.
huge.
They're pretty
I
good
think it
size.
just goes to show how large like regular horses are.
Right.
Because they were not, the ponies out here are not like monster. But
No,
they're
they're
not
just
like
bigger than I
itty
thought.
bitty either. They're not mini horses.
But yeah, so Scales is like this fenced-in area, and the horses were around the fence.
Yep.
And they have these gates that you got to make sure you close so the horses don't come inside, and that's where there's like 4 or 5 different pits that people can like set up their tents.
It was a big spot, man. It was
Huge
a
spot.
really big spot.
Huge spot, and it was open field, so no trees inside this fenced-in area. They had a privy there as well.
Yeah.
So we picked like this nice corner, got our stuff set up, and we went out looking for firewood. Had some success with that.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a little hard to find firewood, but I think being on the AT, it's a little
being on the
challenging
AT,
anyway.
It's going to be picked through a little bit, but we got some good fire going.
Yeah, I would say the best fire we've ever had has been on this trip, both nights.
You could say that. I
think a lot of us
some of the
have said
better
that.
fires we've had.
A lot of
Maybe
us
not
have
the
said
best.
that. That joke has only been made like 6
it's
or
like
7
all,
times
all weekend.
each day.
But so while we were there too, a couple through hikers were passing through.
Yeah.
A couple through hikers actually stayed there over the night.
Yep.
It was so funny to witness it because they're so efficient.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
the most
they're in
efficient
and
hikers
out.
of all time.
Yeah.
It was cool to just see them get set, eat their food, and
Go to
They,
bed.
they
and
hung
go to
out for
bed.
a little bit. They kicked the hacky sack for a few minutes, like us, and then that was it. They were like in.
Yeah.
They were done.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
You got to crush 25 miles a day,
Yeah.
But that was cool. That night was fun. We had some good laughs around the fire. One thing, though, that we did not expect was how the weather was in the middle of the night.
Dude, it was so windy.
It was the most windy we've ever
so
experienced.
windy.
Do you think it was more windy than Linville?
Yes, because
I think so.
Linville was louder, but this was whipping our tents.
Dude,
Yeah.
I have a new tent for this trip. I went with the Dipole 1 Li, and it's
From Tarp Tent.
From
Yep.
Tarp Tent. It's got these in the head and foot box. There's these windows that you can pull down, and there's like a material that you can. So there's a net material, and then there's the I think it's a polysill for that little window there, and like there's this little plastic clip that you can pull up and down like a shade, and I had those all the way down, but the wind was coming through like a tunnel, just boom, and just the way that my tent was positioned, it was like that's how the wind was coming through,
Oh,
like
geez.
straight down the barrel.
Oh my
and so
God.
like I put those up because it was so loud and heavy, and it was going through. It was making me a little chilly. I put those up. The wind was so hard that it literally pulled the shade off of that little plastic piece and all the way down.
That's crazy.
So I had to wake up in the middle of the night and like kind of push it back through and like get it back in and like Velcro it back. It was wild, but it was so loud.
It was super windy. It was hard to sleep. My tent was kind of like it was like a sail on a ship.
Yeah, just sideways.
You were sideways.
I
yeah.
wish I would have been like more
Oh my
head
God.
on, but I had no idea. The other thing, there was not only that, there were
There were-
two other things.
yeah,
I have in
two
that
other
night.
things.
One, you can also hear the horses right beyond the fence,
Yeah.
and like and like hitting the dirt. And you're like, it sounds like it's next to your
Yeah,
tent.
they were just like chattering.
It
I
sound
know
like
there's a
that.
fence there, but
Yeah.
the other thing too is at 4 a.m. there was like a single engine plane that was so close.
It sounded like a bomb.
And we woke up. You could see the lights from it. Like,
It was
through my
wild.
tent. I was like, "Oh my God, is it gonna hit us?"
It
It was
was
so insane.
wild.
I didn't wake up for the tent.
I don't know how you didn't wake up for that.
Yeah.
It was.
It was
I
so loud.
literally was like, "Well, this is how we die." A plane is literally crashing into us. I felt like it was that close.
Part of me was like, "We're gonna go on a rescue mission right now, We're gonna hear a crash.
or
That's what I
we're
was
gonna
thinking.
hear it, and
Really?
then we're gonna have
That's
to
how,
go
like,
and see if
'cause
they're survivors.
The light looked like
Yeah.
it was not far off the horizon, but
Oh.
it was just somebody.
Dude.
I guess somebody flying like through the mountains, and
Well,
I mean, we
that's such
kinda
a
heard it
weird time
yesterday,
to be
too.
flying, too.
no, that's what just doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's why I kind of thought it was like a jet. Like maybe they were
Yeah.
doing because like we heard jets the next day too.
we did, but it was way too close, and I could see the light.
Man.
It was crazy.
It was wild.
Drug runners of
It was
Virginia
wild. Maybe.
at 4 a.m.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Crazy, dude. But no, that was it was a tough sleep, hard to sleep, not
Yeah.
much sleep.
Not much sleep.
But not just a drizzle of rain, so we stayed dry at least. But
It did rain or sprinkle
A little bit in the
bit in the
morning.
morning,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it stopped before we woke up.
that was fine.
Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
crazy.
We did wake up, and the AT through hikers were gone.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were.
they
They had
were
left at
long
6 a.m.
gone, I
Like
think
6
there was-
a.m. They
yeah.
they got up.
No
and split.
waiting around.
Nope.
But yeah, then we started our day.
Yeah.
Hitting the AT. Actually, we were off
No,
AT
we were off
yesterday.
AT
I
yesterday.
think we started on it for like a very brief second,
and then we had to get back off
and then we
because
had to
it
get off.
wasn't the right spot.
It was the wrong way. But yeah,
Um,
so we what we did was kind of looped around
Yeah.
where the AT was. Yesterday was a little bit more of like, when it came to our planning for this trip, a little bit of, Alex, you had a good phrase
What
for
did
it.
I call it? A mile grab?
A mile grab.
Yeah, it was.
It was
Just to
just a
add some
mile
miles
grab,
to our
man.
trip.
Yeah, it was a little boring.
There wasn't anything spectacular. There was a portion where like we wanted to like go out because there was this point on the map where it said like a lookout.
Yeah, it was like a
yeah.
viewpoint.
But a viewpoint, that's right.
Yeah.
That's what it said. And we started down there, and we got to like this water part, and we got some water because like we were low on water. We weren't sure when we were gonna get it next, and then we were like,
Well, dude, you could tell that no one.
This is not.
You could tell no one goes down there because there
Yeah.
were trees down all over the place. We had to
Right.
go up a bunch to get around fallen
and it was
trees
going
and
to be
stuff,
a
and
little while yet.
Yeah, and
to,
it was-
to make it, and we were like, "Well, is it going to be worth it?" And
It's weird
obviously we
because
just
on
determined
AllTrails,
not.
when you like, if you're familiar with the AllTrails app, you can at least on your phone put your finger down where the elevation is, and you can drag it, and it'll show a blue dot, and it will follow the trail.
It'll mark the trail
and you
where
can
you're
kind
at,
of see like based on then your elevation and then how far for distance and stuff like that. Well, it looked like it was a mile out and a mile back, but it was definitely 2 miles out, 2 miles
yeah.
back.
So we went about halfway. We grabbed water, which was a
Yeah.
win.
which we needed, which
Yeah.
was fantastic.
And then we had a
Right.
tough elevation up back and
Yeah.
had some lunch.
Yeah.
But no, that was fine. And then we
Dude, I got to talk about my lunch real quick because that was a win.
I think you do need to talk about your lunch.
that was a win. For dinner too. So for dinner night one, we had
Chipotle burritos, We
and
did.
for my lunch I needed to get some nacho cheese single serve cups, and the only way I was able to get it was it came in a pack that had also like 10 or 8 bags of nacho chips, and then also some salsa. And I'm like, well, I have this single serve salsa and this bag of nachos. I'm gonna bring that for night one, and have
and it
a
worked.
full on Mexican for
dude.
dinner, and it worked great.
that's amazing.
And so for lunch, after we had got water and went back up, had a nice lunch, I did a walking taco. And if you're not familiar with that, that is a bag of Fritos with some beef, which was the beef creation, which was
Excellent.
new for us and not new for you.
Excellent.
You had it on your last trip with your wife.
And I will continue to bring it.
It was
delicious
fantastic. Put a little nacho cheese in that, and then a little Taco Bell mild sauce, and it was delightful. Delightful.
I'm jealous.
I love that for you.
Yeah. It was so good, dude.
That's
I will do
amazing.
that for lunches from here on out. It's a little heavy.
But was it worth it? For
Worth
the
the wait.
enjoyment?
I think for the most
Bro,
part,
yes.
food weight
Yes.
is always worth it.
Right. If you're going to
Mostly.
enjoy it,
Mostly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Have
I
at it.
carried almost a pound of a steak to make the first
You
night.
did. You made steak.
So this is my second time doing steak on the trail. I've improved every time.
It
I
wasn't
can
a
improve
shoe.
it even more. It
Yeah.
wasn't a shoe.
What would you change? We didn't
Oh,
really
just
talk
some
about what you changed.
seasoning
Some
and stuff
seasoning,
like that.
yeah.
Because I just kind of I brought it, I vacuum sealed it, and it was frozen up until I put it in my bag when we started hiking, and it was a good temperature when I started to fry it. So I brought it in a pan, had some olive oil, and it cooked great. I got the cook down.
Could you put olive oil and season it and then vacuum seal it? That way it's all
In
kind
one
of ready
pack?
to go.
I thought about that, but I think that also in the vacuum seal, it still gets a little liquidy and it might just drop off.
Really?
I think it's best to dry it as best I can.
It's almost like a
get some salt and
marinade.
pepper, sort of, but I don't like marinating.
if you didn't
steak.
freeze it,
know.
though, if you could just season it and
Did you
then
freeze
put it
it?
in.
Well, it was frozen before.
Frozen before you did it, yeah.
If you just had an unfrozen, if you just vacuum sealed like a dried steak,
right.
then that could
The
work.
only problem with that is that it doesn't stay cold enough until you get to
Until
camp.
you get to camp,
Oh.
yeah.
It would just be too warm, and I just don't trust the bacteria in that
True,
thing. So,
true.
but we're on our way. We're getting closer.
Getting closer.
So I'm happy with that. But yeah, okay. Back to Friday.
Yeah.
After lunch, again, it wasn't an outstandingly exciting part of the trail
Yeah, nothing to write home about.
Right.
until
no views, but it was just a good day of hiking.
It was a great day of hiking.
Despite it not having any crazy features that we were over the moon to see.
Right.
It was a nice day of hiking.
But once
It was
again,
green.
right at the end of the day, you get back on the AT. And,
Yeah, we were back on
and
the
again,
AT
right
from
when you
there.
get back on it, you're like,
Everything
Yeah,
changes.
this is
Everything
great.
changes
It's
once you're back
gorgeous.
at
Yeah,
the AT.
very clear.
And we made our way to a shelter. And do you boys remember the name of the shelter?
Was it Will's shelter?
It was something like that.
Yeah, it was like something.
don't
Wills.
remember.
Not Wills,
I didn't know
like
if it was
Wells Shelter or
Yeah,
something like that.
something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, so we were fortunate to get a shelter that night. There was a privy nearby, pretty big shelter too. So there's 7 of us with us now. We all fit like sardines in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
perfect.
pad to pad, but it was good.
It was good.
Yeah, and I'm glad we had it because
It rained.
it rained hard that
it
night.
was the hardest rain I think we've ever experienced on the trail.
huge thunderstorm.
Yeah. Well, and it's
Yeah.
funny. We got 2 text messages. Our signal's been kind of crappy.
Yeah,
We got
very
2
spotty.
text messages about the weather before that evening, and we were just kind of like, well, we can't really check it, so we'll see
Right.
what happens. But yeah, it was really, really nice to be under that shelter with what ended up
It
happening.
had a tin roof, and like
It was
I think we
loud.
all woke up the second it started
Immediately.
downpointing because it was like the loudest thing in the world, and then
Yes.
there was lightning going on and some thunder and stuff.
It was so loud.
I felt
Again-
so comfortable though.
I was comfortable.
Like, I was
knew
not
we were-
nervous at all.
No, not nervous, but like it was so loud I just didn't sleep. Like I think I maybe got another 2 hours of sleep last night too.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's been
Brian.
the sleep
Brian.
has been
I bet you
brutal.
got more than you think because there's a point when you're like in that state of
Yeah,
like in
maybe.
bed and maybe not quite sleeping but resting.
Yeah.
Where like you don't know what time it is and
Right,
you're not
right.
sure like what's going on. I bet anything we got more than you think.
Yeah, maybe.
But it was really rough rain. I mean, it was
Bro.
bad, dude.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for the shelter. I think if we were intense, it would have been sloppy for us.
Would have been
Yeah,
very
it would have
sloppy.
been. I think we would have slept even less, right?
Definitely.
I know
Oh,
for
for
me,
sure.
I remember waking up when it was raining, and I was like, "Oh well, we're under the shelter.
Right.
All of our
I can go
gear
back
is
to bed.
covered. Like
Yeah.
everything
That was
felt
nice.
really comfortable and safe. Even the storm like didn't really worry me at all. If we were in a tent." And that had been happening, I would have been a little bit maybe on edge, but just because we'd have been just strictly in
Are we
a
taking on
fabric
water
tent.
or
but
not?
Right.
Is this
it
a
felt
boat?
really comfortable.
Right.
One other funny part about that the shelter place is when we were looking for wood, it was like kind of like these mangroves. It felt like where they were like it was like the banana leaves.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called,
They're
but
called. We were on a trail called that. Oh, sorry, no microphone in my mouth. We were on a trail that was called the name of the leaf. They're called rotundas or.
rhododendron.
Rhododendron.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
But they
yeah.
have like
yeah.
the vines on the bottom, and
Yep.
because it was on the AT, like there wasn't. It was like the most well manicured little area around
Like
the
little
camp.
trails kinda going
Yeah,
around
it
a
felt
little
like
bit.
we were on an episode or like a season of Survivor. It was like we were just like in like a movie
cleanest
set. It was
forest floor
the
of all time.
craziest, like most well manicured area
Yeah,
in the
just
universe.
from people being there and
Yeah.
picking up sticks for fires and just
Yeah.
like cleaning up the
There was
forest
no
floor.
debris on
Yeah.
the floor, like
Pretty
at all.
funny.
It was
Yep.
insane when you were walking around, but it
Another
was very
thing
cool.
about those first 2 nights is that we, it's a good thing we had bear lockers because we were missing our dear friend Pfeiffer.
Yeah,
on this
if you can
trip.
tell, Pfeiffer's not here.
He's not here. And we miss him very, very much. Mr. Bearbag, he was
Mr. Bearbag.
off duty for 2 nights because we had bear lockers. But
We
tonight,
will, we
are
will
gonna
need,
be
we will
we will
tonight.
need those services this evening.
I don't think
so.
there's bears here though. I don't think we might be okay.
You can test that theory. You
Just
can
kidding.
use your food bag.
My
as a pillow.
bag, my food bag
There's-
will
it's just
be
trash.
empty.
It's a trash bag at this
Yeah,
point.
at this
Yeah.
point, it's a trash bear bag.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna try to eat the rest of the food tonight.
That's a great goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about Saturday morning. So yeah, we woke up and things were wet, but it wasn't like
Oh,
drenched.
whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
wasn't
whoa!
good.
Wait! There's something else we got to talk about.
What?
You talking about the hacky?
We gotta talk.
Oh.
We gotta talk about the magic that happened last night. So we decided to leave our aerobie, which I'm sure everyone has heard us talk about. It's
was a mistake.
It's a frisbee. We had the most perfect spot to throw this thing. We
on
forgot
night
it.
1 we did. Yeah.
But we have routinely brought a hacky sack. We suck at hacky sack. But last night we had
We
a
became pro.
breakthrough.
We
We
became
had
pros.
a breakthrough that changed everything with the hacky sack. And we were kicking this thing like we knew what we were doing. And it was... We probably still suck at it, but it was so entertaining.
Here, we
was
turned a corner
entertaining.
because my opinion on hacky sack with this group has always been like, we suck. What are we doing? We get
Yes.
like 2 kicks in, and then we're just kind of like fumbling around. But we did hit our stride
We,
last
we-
night.
it was.
We really
it might have
did.
been lightning
We
in a
really
bottle.
did.
Lightning,
Maybe it'll
yeah.
never happen again.
We'll
but
We'll see. We'll probably play a little bit tonight.
yeah.
Maybe.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I see that on the agenda.
We
I
did.
do.
We don't give ourselves the opportunity to get better. I think that's the thing. Because even when we first started, we're like, let's not kick it around. Let's just throw it, and we'll count to see how many throws we can get without dropping.
Yeah, from a
which
long
is-
distance,
From a long
you know.
distance, yeah, right. And then we're like, let's do
really
this the right
let's
way.
commit to this and see what happens.
Let's dial it
Let's
in.
commit. That's a great word.
I like it.
Yeah.
And it was worth it.
It was
Definitely
great.
worth it.
It was great.
So yeah, Saturday morning, a little wet, not too drenched. We were dry, so yeah, we set out to go tackle Mount Rogers and the surrounding area. So yeah, we again, we were on the AT 90% of our day.
I mean, once we got onto the AT, it was pure magic.
Today was the
awesome.
best day of hiking for the trip, and it made the trip worth it for sure. It was
gorgeous.
The views that we got, and we'll put some footage and stuff like that up in it. But like, we really did get some really good views.
Oh my gosh,
a lot of rolling
like
hills,
Highlands, just
beautiful.
like walking through, seeing the ponies.
A lot more ponies and stuff like that too.
It was very cool.
It was great. It was really great.
And you could really there were certain points where you can stop, and there was because there was a lot of the stuff that we were on today had we were partially bald.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. A lot of rock,
boulders that you can climb up onto and really get good views of the mountains.
Yeah.
I love when you look out and you see the depth of the color change of each mountain.
Yes,
right.
yeah.
And then
it's like a wave.
And then what's even cooler is when you see it, and then you know where you're going, and it's like, how are we going to get there?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're and I thought this was cool about this trail where we were coming off kind of one of those bald kind of highland areas, and then all of a sudden you're in this little chute where it's you're literally real tight trying to
tight.
wiggle through, and that was such a cool little moment where it's just kind of you're just squeaking through. It was just really neat.
Love that.
It was really neat.
Love that. But yeah, that was a great hiking. Lots of horses again.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
This was. I remember just walking. It was kind of dense forest, and then you get right into the opening, and there was just a horse right on the trail.
Right on
I'm like,
it, dude.
Yo,
Yeah, they're here. We're here,
and they were just hanging out. And there was another area where there was kind of like a crossroads where there were a lot of other hikers, not through hikers, looked like more day hikers like us. Or weekend hikers, and there were so many horses, and everyone was taking pictures. It was pretty sweet.
I feel like it's one of those things, and I remember before the trail, I don't want to say I wasn't excited about seeing the ponies, but there's just something so dumbfounding about seeing a wild horse in the middle of your hike that it's how do I not take a photograph of this?
There was a lot of them too. I mean, there was some babies with them too, which was really nice.
Right.
It's just really, really nice to see kind of out in their own element for the most part.
Right.
Yeah, so a little bit after that, some of the partially bald areas, we stopped and had lunch right before a trek to Mount Rogers. So Mount Rogers is interesting because it's not like the other peaks that you see around, although it is the highest in Virginia.
It is.
It is fully covered. So you don't reach the top of Mount Rogers for the views.
Right.
And so we were a little well,
should we
I guess
do
we should
it?
just
Yeah,
do
we're
it,
here.
'cause
We
I
should do
actually-
it.
So we were sitting we had lunch. We had a beautiful view where we had lunch. Oh my
Lunch
god, it
was
was just
picturesque.
I think that's probably one of the
Sound
best
of
places
music.
we ever had lunch
I
by
agree,
far.
I agree.
And I was eating lunch, and I was like, you know what? I feel like the last 2 days have been kind of just go was a lot. I really needed to kind of get a nice reset during this trip. I'm going to stay back. I know that there's going to be no views. Going up I think it was, would you guys do a mile?
So it ended up, I believe, being 2 miles.
Yeah, I think there and back.
2 miles from where we were from lunch?
No, there and back.
Probably like a mile and
Maybe
a
a
half.
mile up.
Okay, yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay back. I'm going to journal a little bit. I'm going to kind of take in the views, kind of just chill, just be with myself a little bit. And I'm glad I did that because I really did kind of mellow out a little.
That moment.
And just, it was just kind of nice to be
Well, that's what you
be
come
by
out
myself.
here for, right? And
Yeah,
I
it
think,
was good. But
having those moments
you
of
guys all
silence.
went up.
So we dropped
and
packs, and Brian
yeah.
was pack master for a little bit. So yeah, we.
I put rocks in
The
everyone's
pack
pack
corral.
and no one noticed.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah,
I haven't found
dude,
mine.
Big rocks, dude.
No one's noticed.
None of you guys noticed the
I
huge
haven't.
rock in everyone's pack.
I'm gonna have to dig down deeper.
I'm just kidding. I didn't do
Ah,
that. That would
you
be
dick.
so good.
That
Oh,
would have been
I
a
should've.
good. You
I
should have
should've.
absolutely
Damn
pranked
it.
us. That
Yeah,
would have been
for
the
sure.
Next
moment
time,
to do it.
been
next
great.
time I'm
You're
pranking.
like,
Trail
man,
pranks.
why
But
is it so
I
heavy?
should've videoed it.
So Mount Rogers being not bald was actually really cool.
It was incredible.
A lot of pines, you
because-
said, right?
It was like walking through Fern Gully, man.
Yeah.
Like everything was moss covered. It was all pines. It's just like very picturesque going up. Like
Was it kind of like Cranberry that first night waking up Cranberry? Like,
Yes.
like
Similar to that.
yeah.
Similar to that.
it's
Cool.
the closest thing we've ever
Nice.
experienced to that. And
Nice.
it was just like 1 second you're in it, 1 second you're out of it, and then it was just like, oh, this is just really
there.
like
That's
super
cool.
cool.
So yeah, you go up through all the way through there. It's a little little jaunt up, and then when you get to the top, there's like logs there for seating and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then they've got the plaque on the highest point on a little boulder. And that plaque saying that Mount Rogers there is from 1930. I found
Oh, wow,
out.
yeah.
Which was just cool to see and be there. But like,
Think about that.
yeah, it was. Although there were no views, it was definitely worth it going through that section of the forest because
Yeah.
it was different than anything else we had seen the entire trip.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was like a magical little forest.
I'm gonna really
Nice.
quickly just make sure I can't because the sun is right on the camera and I can't see the light to see if it's red or not.
Looks like you're all right.
'Cause
Pat.
we're- I
But I
just-
mean, if you want to jump up
I
and
just
go
wanna-
look,
yeah, let me just check real quick.
Pause.
Hello.
We're good. We're good. Okay, all right.
Look at us.
Look at that. We're recording.
We doing it. We out here.
We're good.
Okay.
Yeah, after,
sorry about that.
So yeah, Mount Rogers was a fun little jaunt up. Either way, you were coming back, so there's no like
Yeah.
circling
Yeah,
around.
it was-
It's like
yeah,
it's
it was
an
an
out
up and-
and
it was
you
an out
come
back.
back. So either way, we're coming back.
But worth doing, and it's funny, Brian. I know I'm glad you had that time, but I
Yeah.
am a little disappointed you didn't get to see it. I
Yeah.
did take some photos for you. Though.
Yeah. It would have been cool to just hit up and just be able to kind of touch the beacon
Yeah.
there, but I think I needed to kind of just be by myself for a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah. It was nice.
Makes sense.
That is
It's
nice.
nice.
Well, and so like that's the funny thing about coming out here is like we do come with a pretty big group, and if you're trying to get some peace and quiet,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
you don't
actually kind of hard to
necessarily
do.
have
Right.
You know,
Right.
So it's listen. There's every trip I kind of walk off a little bit, and I haven't done that yet this trip. So that
Yeah.
will probably happen this evening where I can just have.
I
Some
did that
thoughts.
yesterday, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
Just
I'm gonna have my
gave
moment
myself
tonight.
like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of just what I needed. It was nice to just kind of just chill. I like I said, I journaled a little bit. I did a little doodle of where we were.
That's
drew,
cool.
drew the fireplace, some of the trees and stuff. It's horrible. It's a horrible drawing.
I look
no
forward
one
to
will,
seeing it.
No one will ever see it. No,
It's just
no,
for you, man.
It's just for me.
It's your journal, man. It's yours. Yeah, after that Mount Rogers trek, we headed back down, and so at that point, it was basically all right. We're getting to a campsite. If this campsite sucks, we're going to go a little further.
Well,
Right.
Real quick though, before we get down past that section, while you're going up on the AT, because it's still the AT at that point, but it's going up to Mount Rogers. There's a huge open area where
all
where,
those
where
tents
we got
were.
water.
Yes,
where
yes,
all
yes.
the tents
Oh,
were and stuff like
yes.
massive open area.
I mean, you'd probably fit
Holy
100 tents there.
I think so.
Tons.
Dude,
There was
more.
there was
than that.
more than
It was crazy.
I think there
I've
were
never
3 Boy
seen.
Scout
I've
groups
never
out
seen
there.
a backpacking campground that big.
It was
Ever.
Sprawl.
huge.
A sprawl.
Huge.
Yeah. How do we almost forget to bring that
We
up?
Man.
when we get back home, I want to look up like exactly what that area was called.
Yeah.
I think
It's
that's
got to be a landmark of some kind.
I think that's the section where when we first found the route, we were gonna stay there because I think that there was like AT shelters there, but we weren't 100% sure because at that point we weren't planning on staying in any of the
we
lean-tos.
we did see an AT shelter on the way up to Rogers.
Oh, so maybe that's what it was.
It was right by where you were sitting.
You're right.
You just
There
you,
was.
you probably could have gone 200, 300 yards. And
Yeah,
then you
and
would've
it was
seen
there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the spot.
I
It might
remember
have been.
seeing
Yeah.
that one on the map.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes, I agree.
then that big area where all that stuff wasn't like no one had specified that on a
there
map
were
before.
so many good spots.
So
I
many,
mean, it was
dude.
pretty wide
Oh my
open,
God.
but
Riviera over there.
Yeah,
There was,
there'd
yeah.
have to be, and
Yeah.
there was boxes for bears and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
not for bears, but to put your food in.
Bear
So
lockers.
yeah. We haven't no bear hangs yet, which has been a treat.
But yeah, that was an interesting spot. So yeah, we watered up there, and
Yeah.
it was definitely cool. But yeah, then we started making our way down, looking for a campsite. We had kind of like a couple different options.
Yeah.
The first one that we saw was definitely too small.
Way too small.
So
That
we're
was
like,
the one that we
let's
had
keep
planned on going
Right.
to.
Yeah, so we were like, let's keep going, and
Plan beat it.
the plan B
Worked out to be
is
the plan
great.
A.
It's nice. It's nice.
Plan B is grade A because it is a gorgeous spot that we have over here.
Yes.
So we're right by a nice creek and a river. I mean, you probably
There's a little
Literally a
flow
river
going down
runs
right
through
here.
it.
I don't know if you could see it. It's
I'm
probably
gonna
on
say
camera,
this
but,
is, and we haven't fully enjoyed it yet. This is going to be probably top 5 campgrounds.
It might
Assuming-
be.
It's right
Yeah.
on the water.
It
It's
is.
got literally everything we look for when we talk about great
I
campsites.
think
Yeah.
the boys over there are making a fire.
I'm kind of hoping. I don't know if
They
I
be-
see some
they
smoke.
better
They
be.
better be.
I'm about ready for dinner and a
Yeah,
fire.
dinner's
man.
gonna
It's
be
gonna
great.
so good.
I'm looking forward to that. Man, yeah. But yeah, it's been a good trip. Today has made, for me at least, today has made the trip
Yeah, I would.
because the first 2 days were just okay. They were just okay. The hiking was just kind of
I
normal
would say
hiking.
this
but
though, and I was thinking about it. If you told me I had to do yesterday to get to today.
Oh, yeah,
I would
100%
I would
for
be
sure.
willing to do yesterday
Yeah.
again to do this section
Yes.
we did today
Yes.
again.
Definitely.
But I would say if I came back, I would know more of ways to like
I think so.
as much of the AT as possible. But yeah, I think
my
it was
biggest
awesome.
takeaway has been I am going to start seeking the AT routes more often.
Yes.
Because that was really special. Every
Yeah.
moment on the AT has been really, really good.
Yep.
So
How do we continue to like mark
Yeah.
the highlighter on the whole AT?
We just start
and-
section hiking the whole
Crunch it
AT.
out,
Honestly,
man.
dude.
Yeah.
It might need to
Understood.
happen.
Yeah.
Listen, I got some maybe some new life goals.
It
brewing.
might be a new strategy when we look at trails, right?
I think at
Maybe.
that point we just kind of need to do either out and backs, do the yo-yo thing, or we just do the 2-car thing.
right.
Th-
you
yeah,
know.
I think so. That's how you break
Yeah.
off big chunks.
Yep.
So
But it has been a good trip, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. Oh my God,
Yeah.
dare I say? We're not even
Oh,
off this one yet.
that's
but
how
I'm
it
looking
goes.
forward to this evening. Just
this
the campground.
evening's going to be
I'm ready
great.
to enjoy. I'm ready for
Yes.
some dinner.
So real quick, let's go around the horn. What has been everyone's favorite part of this trail?
I'm gonna go the
Nice.
the trek that we did up to Mount Rogers only because it was so different.
Yeah.
Loved
It's and surprising because we weren't expecting much.
It
was
has been
beautiful.
diverse.
Yeah.
That's for sure. This trail has been diverse. I think mine was us going to that junction point to go up to Mount Rogers where you had the huge views on the one side. On the other side, you could see some of the mountains and stuff like that, which was great. And then also had the wild ponies kind of going through.
Yeah.
Like
That was
that
amazing.
Over in that section, oh my God.
I
And
agree.
then during that, you would kind of walk through and hike through some of this, and then all of a sudden it would open up into a
Right.
huge section.
When
And
it-
that's where
when
we
it
had like the
opens
big
up like
boulders and
that,
stuff like
yeah,
that
dude.
too.
Which
That
we
was
climbed.
that was really neat. Yeah. We took every opportunity to climb those big boulders. Absolutely.
I think for me, I feel like I've felt this on multiple trips before, and like we've experienced it at areas like Dolly. When you get into those like kind of highlands areas where it's
Yeah.
like you're kind of between areas. So I think it was after or a little bit before the Pine Mountain that we ended up doing as
Yep.
well. Like seeing just kind of those wide open areas
Yeah.
that it's like they don't make sense in the context of being around these like peaks.
Yep.
But it's just totally wide open. There's a lot of grasses, and it's just I don't know. It's just kind of cool.
I
vibey.
love it.
Yeah.
It's been an outstanding trip.
Yep. Well,
Couldn't
I'm
agree
looking
more.
forward to tonight. We hope you enjoyed the From the Trail episode. If you have questions, make sure that you
Yeah.
shoot us a comment down below. Don't
Share
forget to like and
photos
subscribe.
all that crap later too.
We will share photos. We'll share
Yeah.
some video. We'll share a
Highly,
bunch of stuff.
highly recommend this area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We'll share the route too with everyone, the AllTrails route. We'll have to kind of correct it a little bit from the offshoot that we did, at least for right now.
Changes, but it's definitely trail theory approved.
Yeah, Trail Theory approved. If you have any questions, email us trailtheorypod@gmail.com. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Beef, we miss you.
The Trail Theory Podcast is sponsored by Audimute and Audio Technica. Music by Dan Koch.